Hey, what's up everybody? Gannon here, back at it again with another one of my Star Trek reviews. In last week's episode, Season 3, Episode 5, The Midway Point, titled Imposters, we learned that there was quite a few imposters aboard. The crew of the Titan had to call an emergency team meeting and find out what the heck was going on. We got a crazy cameo in the form of Rolaren. She has somehow managed to find her way back into a commander security position with the help of some lazy writing and explanation, and she met her untimely demise. All in all, I didn't really like last week's episode so much. I think it was just kind of average in the context of this rather amazing season. Today's episode might be the first one that I ever give a 10 out of 10. Like, I do not think I've given a 10 out of 10 score yet. I've been waiting to give it. A lot of people might say that Star Trek Picard and New Trek rely a little bit too much on referencing the past, and they would probably be correct. Sometimes there are episodes of New Trek where they just rely entirely on referencing things that we used to love about Star Trek and don't really bring new substance into the fold. But today, it's just littered with amazing references to the point where they just have you screaming, "Oh my god, no they didn't." Whole Next Generation crew pretty much is seen in today's episode. And not only that, but it's not just the Next Generation crew members that we expect to see, but somebody totally unexpected appears in today's episode, and it's outrageous what Terry and the crew have cooked up. Let's get right into it. Episode 6, titled Bounty. This is the episode where the Next Generation crew is all seen. We see Deanna, we see Geordi, we even see Geordi's family, we see Picard, Riker, the whole gang. Dr. Beverly Crusher, Worf, they're all here. It comes at a perfect time, honestly. At the 6th episode, we have episodes 1 through 5 being that exposition, the bread and butter. We're introduced to Picard's son. We're introduced to the Titan, Captain Shaw. All the characters at this point have met each other and realized that they're all in the same conundrum, and now they have to work together. Oh my gosh, this episode was insane. The general premise is that Raffi and Worf are finally beamed aboard the Titan. We're all briefing each other, and they come up with the plan to go and take the Titan to DAYSTROM'S station, because as you know, in last episode, Worf and Raffi went through those very mediocre scenes on the piratey Hollis Prime sector homeworld in order to get that device to sneak into DAYSTROM'S station. And DAYSTROM'S station is just this amazing place where dreams come true. It's literally Wonderland. Anything that you think possible, any outrageous thing that could appear in the Star Trek canon, it is now appearing at Daystrom. They go aboard the Daystrom station. The only thing that's a little bit disappointing about Daystrom station is that we've long known that Professor Moriarty from the Next Generation that showed up in those 2 episodes where he was brought to life, became sentient via use of the holodeck, and then the follow-up episode where he comes back to consciousness and takes the Enterprise hostage again and traps everybody in the holodeck and kind of plays this little game. Daniel Davis appeared in today's episode, and I really wanted him to do a little bit more. I wanted it to actually be the Professor Moriarty who had gotten trapped in the module. I would have loved to hear about Moriarty's life he experienced in the module, the life that Picard had almost, you know, kind of gifted him in a way, because it's the best possible outcome. There's no way that they were going to provide him with the technology necessary to give him everything he wanted, so Picard tricked him and gave him the life he wanted. Wow, was Daystrom Station cool. They had the attack tribble, which, you know, they always got to bring tribbles up for some corny-ass reason. I'm a little bit sick of it at this point. It was a little bit cool seeing Lorca have the tribble on his desk in Discovery, but it's been about 5 times now I've seen tribbles either just like over-referenced or misused. There are multiple bodies on Daystrom Station. In the end of the episode, we actually learn that the big important thing that Vadik stole from Daystrom Station originally was Picard's deceased human remains, But earlier in the episode, when they're just walking through Daystrom Station and investigating it, I don't know what it is. It's either like the body of James T. Kirk, his deceased remains. It could literally just be Kirk frozen in cryostasis, like that dude never died and his death has been retconned, which is not the only death that would have been retconned this episode. Did they clone James T. Kirk, and are they planning on bringing him back? Is this going to be some reference to James T. Kirk's future role in Strange New Worlds? No, they did not. Did Terry really do that? The other crazy thing about Daystrom Station is that when they get to the middle of Daystrom Station, they realize that the computer module that is controlling this whole entire station is basically a new synthetic android version of Data. Crazy. It's insane. Terry, you absolute dog. No, you didn't. Data in season 1 of Picard died. Season 1 of Picard is easily its worst season. It was very strange and had a lot of flaws for a lot of reasons. Data's death was arguably the best thing about it. I think it was a really heartfelt moment. It made a lot of sense for Data to want to experience death. The Data that we all know and love, it was said multiple times in this episode that he died, like in the end of Nemesis, and then also in the end of Picard, like I just mentioned. Harry and the crew have now written that on Daystrom Station, Alton Soon, who was the predecessor of Dr. Noonien Soon that was in season 1, actually revealed that some time has passed and that he had devoted the rest of his time to construct this new synthetic android version of Data that is in a culmination of all of the Soong-type androids, but primarily Data. So think of it as like, okay, we're bringing Data back to life, 70%, but we're also just giving him the essence of every other Soong-type android in the family tree. So that includes Lore, scarily enough. I don't know why he did that. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them in the ass. B4, which doesn't really make sense because B4, to my knowledge, was barely ever really sentient and did anything in the first place. And then the one that really made sense to me, Law. Why didn't he mention Data's new daughters? It would have been cool to have a little bit of their essence in there as well, especially the one that died and didn't really get to live much because she just got murked at the beginning of season 1. It would have been nice to see her name mentioned as well. Data is freaking back! Guys, by the end of this season, I very much think that we are going to have an all good things version of Data and Geordi. That, okay, Data is now able to look aged like he properly should be. They gave him the yellow eyes. They let him keep the yellow eyes. They're so smart for that. They deserve the biggest gold medal. I'm going freaking crazy. Look at my Justin Jefferson Gritty Time shirt. It's time to gritty. It's time to gritty because this stuff is insane. I really like what they did. If they're going to bring back Data, they did it in a really creative, fun way. The Data that we all know and love is still kind of dead in a way, but they gave him the literal Picard treatment. He's just able to look aged. It's perfect. Also, reluctant to help Picard. It's got a little bit of the old age bug that all the characters seem to suffer from, where they've lost their old self and they're a much more careful version, and he's very reluctant to help Picard because he knows he's on the run. He has a lot of responsibilities now that he is the head of this huge Starfleet ship museum that plays a crazy dope part in this episode that is a real tearjerker if you're a fan of just any old Trek in general, because we get to see all of the old vessels in Geordi's shipyard, get to see a conversation between Seven and Jack where Jack actually reveals that he has a deep love for Starfleet history and especially starships. We get to see the USS Voyager in this episode, which just makes me want to cry. I'm watching through Voyager right now and I'm finishing up the 4th season. It just makes me want to cry seeing the Voyager. We also got to see Kirk's Enterprise A refit. Looks really cool, the hot rod version of the Enterprise. The Defiant, we got to see the damn Defiant. The Dominion War was also referenced heavily at the beginning of this episode, with Worf just basically giving viewers a rundown. If there are people who are just watching Picard now and haven't watched 90s Trek, he gives them the rundown. Geordi's daughters play a huge role in this episode. Sydney, what's the other one's name? Alondra, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't want to check my phone. I keep on forgetting it because she doesn't really do much. She is actually LeVar Burton's real daughter. They're both pretty cute, by the way. You even get a sense that Sydney, the other daughter, is talking a lot with Jack, and there might even be some kind of romance hinted there. There's this really cool, funny scene where he's like, stay away from my daughter, where he's being defensive. And I just really need Leia Brahms to be revealed to be Geordi's wife at the end of this. I really need Geordi of all people to actually be successful and happy and still have a Starfleet career. He is basically engineer Jesus at this point. He's engineer God, where Captain Shaw is fanboying, just meeting Geordi LaForge and having him on the same starship, which just speaks volumes, because Captain Shaw, even though he did experience Wolf 359, he has no love for the other veterans, but he geeks out at Geordi LaForge. So dope that Geordi LaForge is getting the respect that he deserves. He has a beautiful family. He has a beautiful, dope position at Starfleet. He still has a commission, and I just really want him to be happy and for him to actually be with the love of his life, Leia Brahms. What else happened in this episode? This episode is so crazy. There's so much to talk about. I really thought that they were going to actually go all the way, by the way, and board the Defiant and use that to get all of them off Daystrom safely with the newly acquired data, but they didn't. They actually stole the cloaking device from the Bird of Prey from the one Star Trek TOS movie where they, steal the whales from back in time. I like a lot of the interactions that Seven has in this episode, by the way, especially the one with Jack, like I spoke about before, and her interactions with Raffi are very healthy, and it's just basically confirmed at this point that they are completely broken up. That relationship has ended. She struggled so much with just becoming human because she was brought back at kind of an older age in her early 20s, I believe. Don't think that she's going to find anybody soon, especially with how busy she is, but it's just cool to see that they've kind of healthily broken up, and then also Raffi speaks to Worf about these things because Worf really seems briefed on everything. The interactions between the Next Generation crew in this episode as well are just sensational. Worf 100% killing it. Always, this version of Worf is amazing. While I love that Geordi is the successful one and there is a member of the group who isn't totally depressing and kind of like avoiding everybody, Worf is the one where really everything about his character I love. Just his action, his dialogue, his feelings. He really feels real. He really feels like a good character. They're just doing a great job with him, and Michael Dorn is doing a brilliant job playing him. He is so talented. Dr. Crusher's coat is so cool. It's the coolest one, by the way. This is like the coolest outfit she's ever worn, period. It would be really awesome if Exocom, that realistic 1/6 scale Star Trek figure company, if they were ever to make a Beverly Crusher, I would very much like for them to make the old version of Beverly Crusher. I love this silver fox, sexy blue leather jacket. I love this version of Beverly Crusher. She's also very confident in her old age, very selfless, and says all the right things. Beverly comes to the conclusion that this sleeper cell things that are going on with Jack are a part of the Aeronomic syndrome. I don't know how to say it. You guys are going to be pissed that I'm not saying it right, but please just forgive me. I don't want to go back and look it up. He has the same neuro disorder that Picard has that killed him in season 1 and forced him into an android body. That's Beverly's explanation for why he's doing sleeper agent stuff. I'm not buying it for a second. I don't believe that the writers would do that depressing shit and just give him the same disease. I feel like this is a totally different affliction that is wrapped into the whole bigger plot. There's a reason why Vadik and Changelings are after Jack specifically. Beverly Crusher just biologically had this baby, right? Unless they created a synthetic embryo and implanted it into her and made her think that she got pregnant in a consensual relationship with Picard. That would be kind of crazy if she got Chakotay'd. That would be insane. This episode is just wild. It has me going all over the place. This is a really unorthodox review for me. I feel like it's not really that structured, but at the same time, Harry was just hitting me like bam, bam, bam. This day is a very wild one for me because on top of this just being a once-in-a-lifetime Star Trek episode filled with amazing things like the Relic Shipyard, the Daystrom site, seeing James T. Kirk possibly never died. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what seeing his little body up in that display meant. I hope somebody goes in and zooms in on the text and we're actually able to read that. Today's just a really crazy day because on top of that, Warhammer 40k. The Lion, one of the Emperor's sons, has been brought back. This is like the second loyal Primarch to come awake in the last 10,000 years. It's like a crazy Thanos-level event. It's tantamount to Iron Man returning in the MCU. It's crazy. And then on top of that, Shanks from One Piece finally did something in the chapter today and showed his true power, which is something that I've been waiting for my whole life. One Piece has been in serialization for over 20 years. We've been waiting for that since chapter 1 to see Shanks' true power. We've been waiting to see the whole Next Generation crew together for like 20 years. And then also, Warhammer's like over 25 years old. I'd go to say it's probably like 30, 35 years old. And this is the first time that the loyal Primarchs, more than one, has been alive forever. You know what I mean? They really have not been alive in the setting. And like a couple years ago, they brought back my favorite Primarch, Rabute Gilliman, and now they brought back the Lion today, and he has just an amazing mini. And this Star Trek episode was amazing. Remember how I was talking about wanting to give it a 10 out of 10? I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because I honestly feel like I'm still waiting for that 10 out of 10 episode. This is getting a 9.5, 9.7 out of 10. I really want to give it a 10 out of 10. You guys might be salty with me when I say that. You might say that, oh, dude, the callbacks got to you. This is still shallow content and there's a whole bunch of references and callbacks to stuff that we used to love. I don't feel that way about today's episode. I felt like the way they brought back Data was clever. I feel like the just level of entertainment that they went from that very mid-episode, episode 5, to this episode, and how excited I am and how on board I was with everything, seeing the shipyard, seeing them pay homage to all of the previous iterations of Trek, seeing them smartly use, I don't know, not really smartly, it's a little bit embarrassing. It's like, oh, we've killed Data twice now and we're bringing him back. Yeah, we're doing it. It's not too clever, but it's funny. I'm really okay with it. I'm loving it. I think it's good Star Trek. Even though I was a little bit disappointed with the amount of Moriarty that we got, it was really cool seeing Moriarty in The Crow being just an excellent reference. And when Riker did the little whistle tune and it showed us that shot of him meeting Data for the first time when he became commander of the Enterprise, just that definitely made some of you cry, didn't it? It definitely made some of you cry. With all that being said, if you're still watching the video, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. A lot of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I want to become like kind of a YouTuber one day, so I kind of have to beg you guys to press the big red button. If you do it, I would be eternally grateful. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about the episode, if you thought it was stupid, if you thought it was great, if you think I'm stupid, whatever you want. I just want to see a bunch of comments down in the comment section because it's my favorite thing about YouTube, and I love the interaction, and more often than not, I will reply to you, and I will 100% at this point read your message. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and with all that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I know I had like the best day ever. I'm legitimately happy to be alive today because of all the great content I was able to witness. So yeah, live long and prosper.